this bill would basically extend that wage protection to solar workers as well. Next, New Hampshire Senate Bill 152 established the Workforce Development and Innovation Fund and creates the Offshore Wind Industry Workforce Training Center Committee. And this committee is really meant to examine offshore workforce needs and make recommendations regarding workforce training efforts. And then Oregon established the Semiconductor Talent Sustaining Fund to support the training and research in terms of the semiconductor industry. And then finally, I just want to mention this California bill. So Assembly Bill 1593, the Salton Sea geothermal resources area is a region in California that's pretty abundant in lithium. And so the bill would have established the Equitable Access Program to prioritize employment opportunities in the construction, maintenance, manufacturing, or reclamation activities for local residents. So just prioritizing a local workforce. However, this bill, although it passed the Assembly and the Legislature, was vetoed by Governor Newsom as the efforts of the bill were considered to be duplicative of work that was already underway. So I just want to wrap up my presentation by mentioning a couple of NCSL resources and events coming up. So our energy program just released our 2023 Legislative Trends Report last month. And so a lot of what I've talked about today is mentioned in this trends report, as well as other topics such as fossil fuels, EVs, energy storage. And so I highly recommend checking out this, and I can share this resource after the presentation. And then I'd also like to mention NCSL's Legislative Summit this year. This is the largest convening of legislative staff and legislators each year. And this year is in Louisville from August 5th to the 7th. And so I really highly recommend your attendance. Registration is open now on NCSL's website for Summit. And with that, that concludes my presentation today. I know that was a lot of examples of legislation, and so I'd be happy to share a more formal list. I know you have my slides available, but I'd be happy to share a more formal list of this legislation as well as any other examples with you after the presentation today.
All right, well, thank you so much for that detailed presentation, and we very much hope that you feel better soon. Thanks for sticking with us, even though you're not feeling 100%. Do any of the committee members have any questions? Okay, and I can't see Senator Daley. So Senator Daley, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you again. Please feel free to supplement with any additional information that you think might be helpful for us. Have a great day. Go get some rest.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll close out agenda item number 8 and open up agenda item number 9, which is a presentation on lithium battery recycling. We have a couple of presenters in Carson City and one online. So I believe we have Mr. Caleb Cage, Ryan Melsert, Dave McMurtry, and our former colleague Don Tatro here. You all can begin whenever you're ready. Thanks for being here.
Good morning or good afternoon, Chair Harris. This is Caleb Cage for the record. Before we get started, I'll make sure that Mr. Melzer is on the phone if he's joining us remotely right now.
Hi, Caleb. This is Tiffany Mooring. I am going to be joining in for Ryan as he had a conflict at this time.
Understood. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair Harris and members of the committee. My name is Caleb Cage. I'm here with the Nevada Battery Coalition, pleased to provide for you an opportunity to talk about who we are, but more important to talk about our members who are here today, Aqua Metals, American Battery Technology Company, and Redwood Materials, who are all recyclers within the lithium supply chain. I think the previous presentation was a perfect table setting for this presentation here, which talked a lot about the need for manufacturing, the need for work to be done within the United States around critical minerals, and Nevada is a place right now that is leading the nation in providing for the lithium supply chain. Nevada is the only state in the nation with all 7 stages of the lithium supply chain present, and we are continuing to grow and continuing to lead the way. We started as an organization in 2023. We formed in the latter part of the year and have recently elected our first officers. We have 21 member companies who have joined and are helping us continue our work, and our work is focused on ensuring that residents within the state of Nevada understand the importance of this industry to our state, making sure that we have an opportunities like these to talk to decision makers and policymakers like yourself, and to work with our partners throughout the state to ensure that we have the workforce development and economic development opportunities to ensure that Nevada continues to be the national leader and one of the global leaders in providing battery storage and the manufacturing related to that. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our members to provide some comments and an overview on what they're doing. And we have Tiffany Mooring from ABTC, or American Battery Technology Company. And Tiffany, if you would go ahead and begin, and then we'll go to Mr. McMurtry at Aqua Metals, and then to Redwood.
Excellent. Again, my name is Tiffany Mooring. I'm the head of marketing and communications for the American Battery Technology Company. I want to thank the committee chair and the members of the committee for allowing us to be here today, and also Caleb and the Nevada Battery Coalition. We're really excited to be here to share a little bit about our company, the American Battery Technology Company, which we often refer to ourselves as ABTC. We are a very proud Nevada company of currently about 80 employees. We're all working to facilitate a transition to a closed loop circular energy economy for a domestic battery manufacturing supply chain, where we're using new innovative technologies that can do this with lower environmental impact, at lower costs, and with strong strategic partnerships at the local, state, and federal levels. We are a very unique company in that we have developed first-of-kind technologies that we're commercializing to build out this domestic supply chain. We're doing that in 2 ways, predominantly. One, through commercial scale lithium-ion battery recycling operations just outside of Reno, in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. And then also we're doing it through the development of a primary resource that's located just outside of Tonopah, which is called the Tonopah Flats Lithium Project, and currently has one of the largest known lithium deposits in North America right now. And we're unique also in that not only we are doing primary resource development and refining and manufacturing of the claystone materials, but we're also doing recycling. We're able to do that with in-house talent and resources. We currently have 5 laboratories at the University of Nevada at Reno, and we're working closely with other national laboratories like Argonne National Lab, and through support with 4 different U.S. Department of Energy grants. We've also, last few weeks ago, announced 2 different tax credit incentives that we were awarded as well, to make sure that we are able to continue developing out these technologies and then scaling them up to be able to access battery metals and get them into the battery metal supply chain. Our team really comes from a background of fundamentally understanding how to design the manufacturing of battery cells, since a good majority of our team has worked as the founding design team that helped build out and commission the first battery gigafactory within the US. And with this understanding of how to build these batteries, we actually have been able to develop a demanufacturing of those batteries so that we can recycle them with that first first kind of technology to be able to recycle these battery packs and get to sort of in a reverse manufacturing situation and get to the metals and get them back into the supply chain. So last year, we actually built out our first commercial scale recycling plant and have employed that technology. We are running that facility right now and making recycled products that will be supplying the domestic battery recycling chain. We're ramping the through of this factory every day, and we're really pleased with the current progress there. In Tonopah, as I mentioned, we've secured about 10,000 acres in central Nevada, just outside Tonopah. We've been working for the last 3 years, conducting geological mapping, sampling, drilling, and analysis, building out a proprietary first-of-kind technology extraction process. And we've received two Department of Energy grants that we're employing on this project. One was to build out a pilot plant, a multi-ton per day pilot plant demonstration system, which we've actually been working on building that out. And we simultaneously have also been working to build out, design, and construct a commercial scale refinery that will use that same technology and be located in Tonopah at our Tonopah Flats lithium site to be able to refine the claystone that we pull out from that site. So we're really excited and honored to be part of supporting the build out of the domestic battery supply chain for the U.S. and also to position Nevada and my colleagues here representing the coalition to be at the forefront of these efforts.
Thank you. Mr. McMurtry?
Thank you, Caleb. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. My name is Dave McMurtry, and I am the Chief Business Officer at Aqua Metals, a sustainable lithium-ion battery recycling company that's headquartered right here in Nevada. Our headquarters is in Reno. Our first pilot plant that you heard Senator Cortez Masto speak about last year in her State of the State address is in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, and that's where we've proven our technology. And then just down the road from that is our first commercial plant that we're building currently. It's a 10,000 ton annual throughput capacity plant that we plan to be finished with at the end of this year. We appreciate the opportunity to share insights into our innovative efforts in recycling and the broader industry landscape. And the previous session and speaker couldn't dovetail better with my colleagues in the sector speaking with you today. At Aqua Metals, we are deeply committed to the economic development and environmental health of Nevada. Our advanced recycling technology not only safeguards our environment, but also drives economic growth by creating high-quality, clean energy jobs. Our operations enhance the job market with roles ranging from engineering Ph.D. chemists to administrative, boosting local employment and providing extensive training on next-generation recycling processes through our partnerships with UNR, TMCC, and Western Nevada College. We are pioneering a closed-loop supply chain for lithium batteries, an approach that reduces reliance on overseas materials, including those from conflict zones, while minimizing environmental impact here in Nevada to establish a secure local supply of critical minerals that we've been discussing all day. By recycling materials such as lithium, nickel, and cobalt, we retain these valuable resources within the state of Nevada, contributing to Nevada's reputation as a hub for clean technology and innovation. Aqua Metals leverages its proprietary aqua refining technology. It's a method that's fundamentally cleaner, safer, and more efficient than traditional recycling methods because we use water-based hydroelectrical solutions instead of fire and harsh chemicals. Our technology has set industry benchmarks by successfully recovering high-purity battery-grade materials from spent batteries, which are then reintroduced into the battery production cycle, reducing the need for raw materials. Nevada stands at the forefront of the battery recycling revolution, with companies like Aqua Metals, Redwood Materials, and ABTC leading the way. Our presence strengthens Nevada's position in the national and global markets as a critical player in the green economy. The state's proactive stance on supporting renewable energy and recycling initiatives aligns perfectly with our mission, helping to attract further investments and partnerships in Nevada. As the demand for electric vehicles and renewable energy storage solutions grow globally, Nevada's role becomes increasingly vital. With Aqua Metals' innovative practices, we are setting global standards right from our backyard, ensuring that the world looks to Nevada not just for ideas, but also for leadership and sustainable practices. So in conclusion, with the support of the Nevada Legislature and the community, companies like Aqua Metals can continue to innovate and drive the industry forward. We're not just recycling batteries, we're powering a sustainable future and ensuring that Nevada remains at the cutting edge of the clean energy revolution. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. We look forward to continuing to work together to make Nevada a global leader in sustainable technology and battery recycling.
Thank you, Chair. It's great to be in front of you again and members of the committee. I appreciate the time and interest in what Redwood and the others are doing. For those of you who don't know, Redwood Materials was started by J.B. Straubel, who was a co-founder and chief technology officer at Tesla. And while he was scaling up the Gigafactory here in Nevada, he was inspired by two sort of key issues that he saw. It was, where are we going to get this material for these batteries in the future? And what are we going to do with them at the end of life? So he started Redwood Materials, and really with the mission of increasing the supply of this material for the batteries, reducing the cost of batteries, making EVs less expensive and more affordable for everyone, and to reduce the environmental impact, as well as increasing U.S. manufacturing of these materials for the first time. Currently, the battery supply chain is a 50,000-mile supply chain that covers the entire world. A large part of that is over in Asia and a reliance on China. Obviously, for national security, strategic interests, we want to reduce our reliance there, and we also want to bring these great jobs to the United States. So one by one, we're trying to reduce the reliance on these additional routes and do it all here in the United States. So our focus is recycling all types of batteries, everything from your AirPods, cell phones, laptop batteries, all the way up to EV batteries, with a focus on producing the anode and cathode portions of the battery, the two most expensive portions that go in, the anode copper foil. Excited to say we are the first, I believe, ever to produce copper foil in the United States, so onshoring that, and we have it in testing with multiple partners and hopefully in vehicles soon, as well as the cathode active material, and that's under construction currently at our facility here in Nevada and eventually in South Carolina. So in our facility is entirely closed loop, looking to use entirely sustainable energy, and then currently producing about enough or recycling material that would be 10 gigawatt hours, which equals about 100,000 vehicles, 788 million cell phones, or 40,000 metric tons per year. The goal is to get that up to 100,000 gigawatts, which would be enough for 1 million EV vehicles here at our facility in northern Nevada, as well as our facility in South Carolina that's underway. We're planning to build about 5 million square feet under roof at our facility, and currently have over 700 employees in Nevada, over 1,000 worldwide. And over 700 of those are showing up to work at our facility here in Nevada as well, headquartered in Nevada also. So we're excited about the future here, excited about the industry, the coalition, all of our partners and players in this industry. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Harris. This is Caleb Cage again for the record. That concludes our remarks and presentation. We're happy to answer any questions you or your committee members may have.
All right, thank you so much. We have some questions. The first is from Vice Chair Watts.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. I appreciate hearing from the coalition and your three companies. I guess just to take it back to a little bit higher level, I'm wondering a little bit about what the recycling feedstock looks like. And again, I'm not an expert in this area, but obviously we've got relatively new utility scale battery storage. There's home batteries. We've got electric vehicles and the battery packs in those. And then, of course, we've got, Mr. Tatro, you mentioned cell phones. And we've got all the consumer items and kind of smaller level batteries. So can you talk a little bit about what your current or prospective feedstock looks like? Are you focusing on particular aspects of, particular types of batteries as what you're bringing into recycle? And how do you, again, at a high level, how are you acquiring those feedstocks? Where's that coming from? Is it direct kind of business to business relationships? Just kind of explaining a little bit of that.
Absolutely. I'm happy to jump in. Don Tatro with Redmond Materials, for the record. We currently receive all types of feedstock. So like I mentioned, everything from your iPhones. It takes us about 200 cell phones to get enough cobalt for an EV battery. So really decreasing our reliance on that mine material and putting that recycled feedstock into batteries here in the United States. It's pretty exciting. We have great partnerships across the country. We have over 100 collection bins across the nation, where we receive everything, again, from watch batteries, iPhones, laptops. Would be happy to have a collection for the state agencies as well when their things are too old and no longer needed. So we have multiple business partners. Rotary's been a great partner. I believe we have 24 or 25 Earth Day events coming up over the weekend and Monday to collect consumer goods. We always say the largest lithium mine in the world is in everyone's junk drawer. So the more of these items we can keep out of landfills to reduce the risk of fire at these landfills and MRFs and transfer stations and bring them into our facilities, the better. We have partnerships with a variety of auto manufacturers to receive their end-of-life batteries or recalled batteries as well, and process those and collect over 95% of the material in those that can be reused indefinitely. So at that time, when we receive this feedstock, recycle it and put it through our process, an atom stays an atom. So your nickels, your cobalt, everything, if anything, become more pure through these processes. And it's not like, the recycled paper that rips. This is a great product to be put back in the batteries. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
For the record, Dave McMurtry. I agree completely with what Don said, and I'll simply add to it by saying the challenge today of battery collection will be a different challenge in 5 to 10 years. Today, Don is right, the majority of it comes from consumer electronics, it's laptops and phones. In the future, when the batteries in EVs that we're currently driving, 8 to 10 year warranties when they come up, they will have very clear, much larger form factors. We will know what's in those batteries. Today, the biggest challenge is if you don't know what a battery is, much of the recycling outside of our coalition happens with smelting because you don't know what's in the battery. In the future, when we get QR codes on batteries, get battery passports, we're going to know what's in those batteries, and it will be much easier to shred them and to put them into form and to align our processes with what's known in the battery. So the challenge of today is really around consumer electronics logistics, collections, and shredding. In the future, it's really going to be about large form battery factory recycling. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. That's really helpful to get that background. And I guess my follow-up question is there anything that you've identified at this point? We just had the presentation from NCSL. They've talked about some places that are looking at policies related to recycling and waste diversion of some of these materials. Is there any, role that you potentially see for policy? It sounds like while the overall volume will increase, you'll essentially have a kind of smaller potential base of folks to work with in terms of auto manufacturers, potentially utilities or power production companies. Is there any role that you see for policy as we move towards that in the future, you're talking about QR codes and kind of having that clear information on what's in the battery so that you can harness the materials out of that. But then also on the short term, I assume that while you're scaling those things up, there's still quite a bit of those consumer materials that are not being captured and diverted out of the waste stream. So without putting you too much on the spot, from your perspective, is there anything that's kind of on the horizon to consider in terms of policies that can help get that feedstock to you, help divert things out of the landfill, and help you understand what it is so that you can effectively recycle it?
Yeah, Don Tatro with Redwood Materials for the record. Yes, I think there's a role. We've seen several states attempt kind of a sledgehammer approach to it that I think will backfire a little bit, but would be happy to meet with you at another time too to walk through the finer points. But I believe there's a role in keeping them out of the MRFs, out of the landfills, and ensuring that they aren't finding their way into landfills. And so finding a way to kind of prop that up and support that effort would be great. In addition, also, I want to mention that we were active in the state of Hawaii after the fires and receiving a lot of the burned batteries and decommissioning some stationary storage sites there as well. So that's another feedstock coming in. But really on the consumer side, reducing the amount that make its way into landfill is critical for a whole host of other reasons, and would be happy to talk with you about some of the nuances of that we're seeing work and not work in other states.
Dave McMurtry for the record with Aqua Metals. Senator, you mentioned our OEM partners, the automakers. Most folks don't realize that 40% of the cost of an EV today is in the battery. It has 20% of the moving parts. So that's an industry that is aligning with this new reality. It's in their best interest that their scrap that Don mentioned and end-of-life batteries get to us because they're closing the loop with us. So we don't worry about the OEM side of the business. It is the customer side, it's the end consumer. And right now, I just came from Washington, D.C., where I was testifying on the Senate Armed Security and House Foreign Affairs, talking about critical minerals. And the truth is that the EU is ahead of the U.S. in legislation. It is currently illegal to throw batteries into landfill in the EU, and it's not here. So in a perfect world, I would love it if the consumer wanted to do what's best for the environment and bring that battery to one of the many collection points in our state. If not, I would love for regulation to be in place so that they do it if not for the good of the environment, at least for the good of the state. A final thought is, I think we're headed to a world where people will soon be reimbursed for the quality, for the value of those batteries. It is a financial incentive. I don't know if that's legislation that needs to be put in place, but as a comparison, anyone who has replaced a 12-volt battery in their car recently knows that you go to your local auto store, they will pay you anywhere from $10 to $20 to come out and pull the old battery out and put the new battery in and install it for you. And if you're like me, my first thought was, this feels too much like a free lunch. It's too good to be true. And then what I learned is there's a lot of regulation in place. It's a $65 billion annual business. That's a 100-year-old market. There are incentives in place. We need to get to the same place with lithium-ion batteries. There has to be incentive, and there has to be a reason for consumers to want to give those batteries back. Thank you.
Great. I look forward to continuing that conversation offline with all of you and figuring out how we can find that balance that supports the economic development here in the state while also supporting the goals of continuing to close that loop and divert waste out of our landfills. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Daley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I was thought of a second question just on that. So do you guys currently pay for people to give you batteries, or do you go out and purchase it at all, or is it all just on a, hey, if you're going to throw it away anyway, we'll take it? Because, I mean, here's the cell phone, and I'm sure there's a battery in there somewhere for a small piece of it. You'll take the whole thing, because otherwise I'm could have given it to an electronics store who's then going to try to sell it to you or something, I guess. I don't know what's the state of that and where are you guys at on buying batteries like he was just talking about?
Yeah, thank you, Don Tatro, for the record. Great question. There's a variety of different ways we receive that material. We have our consumer collection bins. There's several in the state. There's Audi's been a great partner, so the Audi dealership, and I believe it's Henderson, has one of our bins there. We have a direct mail-in where we'll take the entire device. We also partner with other e-waste folks, so if you were going to give it to them, we also have a partnership where the things we don't need, we can give to them. They'll give us the batteries. For the larger EV batteries, we have for auto dismantlers a portal where they can go and get a quote of what that battery is worth, and then we arrange logistics and shipping to our facility as well. So there's a wide variety of items. Even on our website, there's a direct mail. And another thing is the IRA passed by the Biden administration really incentivizes the use of recycled material in the batteries, so there's a strong desire by the manufacturers to maintain some sort of ability to collect that battery at end of life. So it's a wide spectrum of opportunities, and we're really pushing on the consumer side as well to collect those batteries. Thank you.
And I understand, thank you on that, but is there going to be at some point where people are going to be incentivized to say, hey, you can get whatever it might be. I don't know how much a small little battery would be worth, but if we're going to try to capture those, you do that. And there's already rules against, you can't just throw your computer into the dumpster. At least you're not supposed to, but I know it happens, right? And so there are places that will take those electronics and they'll break it down to every little component. I'm sure there are places that are feeding you guys with some of that stuff because they don't have the capability to recycle it or anything. But they are selling that generally. They're not giving it away. They're taking it for free from the consumer. So that's in the future somewhere where there's going to be a compensation for that.
Thank you. For the record, Don Tatro with Redmond Materials. Yeah, I think it's an evolving market. So some of those things they will pay for, some that they aren't right now, but I think as we continue to put pressure on the commodities market around these, it'll increase in value. And I know a lot of the e-waste companies will pay for it. Different states, I know California has something where you can receive a rebate and that type of thing. So there are those in the works, and I think, 5 years from now when you ask that same question, it'll be a very different answer because we may have solidified that market a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do the recycling, whether I'm going to get paid for it or not, just because I hate to see the copper wire go in the garbage, right? If someone's going to use it and recycle it, God bless them, and I'll give it to them, right? My other question was, if I can, Madam Chair, was for the American Battery Technology Company. I had a question on the lithium, I'm assuming it's a mine site in Tonopah, and you said you had secured 10,000 acres, I believe you said. So is that on BLM land, is private land? When you say secured, you just have mining rights? In what stage are you in that on the, you've developed the resource, you know it's there, but where are you at on the development of the mine?
Yes, it's actually 10,340 acres of land that is administered by the BLM. So it is on public land that we have. We have 517 unpatented load claims as part of that project. In terms of where we're at, we're still in the process of developing the resource, but we have gone through the process already of doing the work to publish an initial assessment. So we've done a resource report to be able to sort of classify and characterize the amount and the kind of lithium that's there on site in that claystone. And so our next step will be looking at our pre-feasibility studies.
And so it's going to be open pit or what do they call it, stripping?
Yes, it'd be open pit at this point. That's what we're looking at doing.
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions from committee members, either here in Las Vegas or online? All right, not seeing any, we will go ahead and thank you all for your time and for doing business here in our great state. We appreciate you coming and letting us know a little bit more about what you're doing. We will go ahead and close out then that agenda item number 9. And we've already done agenda item 10, so that brings us right to our last piece of public comment. Again, you will have 2 minutes for public comment. You can do it here in Las Vegas, in Carson City, or on the phone. I would ask if there's anyone here in Las Vegas who'd like to provide any public comment, but there's no one here in Las Vegas, period. So how about Carson City? Anyone in Carson City who'd like to give public comment?
Yes, for the record.
Go ahead, sir, please.
Yes, for the
2
record,
minutes.
my name is Mark Ellis. I'm the Executive Vice President for the AFL-CIO, representing 120 locals and 150,000 members. I am also the President of Communication Workers of America and the point person for Broadband Brigade on Nevada, California, and Hawaii. So earlier, I heard Brian Mitchell from OSIT mention what a great relationship we had, so I decided I need to come down here and testify on open comment. I always try to come up with a unique and new way to testify. I don't like coming in and regurgitating the same stuff. I'm sure you guys don't like to hear the same stuff. So while I was thinking about it, I was texting my wife, so I'm just going to kind of go over what I went through with her. And I sent her a text saying, hey, got pulled into growth and infrastructure. OSIT mentioned me by name, saying how great our relationship was working together. My wife's reply was, wow, are they referring to pre-Lombardo? My reply was, I guess. Her reply, because they haven't even dealt with you since he's been in office, right? My reply, correct. My wife's reply, wow. So let me back up a little bit. When BEAD first came out, it's in the part of the BEAD project that OSIT was required to work with and collaborate with the unions. In this case, that would be myself and IABW. I sent him several emails saying, hey, we need to meet. He refused. Or just didn't reply, I should say. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He didn't refuse. He just wouldn't even reply to my emails. So finally, I got an invitation to meet Vice President Kamala Harris. I was one of the 4 labor leaders, so I sent an email to him, Governor Sisolak, stating that OSIT was going to be the primary subject of my conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris. Next thing you know, I'm having bi-monthly meetings. At no point in time did we ever work together or collaborate. It was always him just telling me what OSIT was doing, which is why we came up with Senate Bill SB 384 to try to put into statute what was the recommendations, at which point I had a brief conversation with Brian Mitchell, to which he stated, we don't need this bill. I feel like we're already doing it. And in a nutshell, that is my relationship with OSIT and Brian Mitchell. There isn't a whole lot there. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in Carson City to give public comment? Okay, not seeing anyone. BPS, is there anyone on the phone line?
If you'd like to testify in public comment, please press star 9 on your phone to take your place in the queue. Once again, if you'd like to testify in public comment, please press star 9 on your phone to take your place in the queue. Chair, the public line is open and working. However, there is no one wishing to testify at this moment.
Okay, well, thank you again to all of the committee members for being on time and engaging today. Very much appreciated. Thank you to all of our presenters for coming and giving us a lot of great information and for hanging on through lunch. We will see you all at our next scheduled meeting, which is on May 29th. 2024. That'll begin at 9 a.m. and I will be chairing that meeting from Carson City. Looking forward to seeing you all then. This meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Chair.